Hello, my fellow concerned friends, and welcome back to my channel, unless you're new here, in which case, welcome. Today, we are going to be looking at some posts from the subreddit X-Foster, which is a subreddit for foster children as well as former foster youth to come together, have discussions, find support, yada yada. It is a community of foster kids as well as former foster youth. So after going through and reading some of the posts, I will have it linked down below. And if you are a foster child or a former foster youth, I would definitely suggest going through and reading some of those posts. It definitely made me feel less alone. And it definitely opened up my eyes to see that some of the things I thought were just isolated to me in foster care actually weren't isolated to me at all. And it's actually just a reflection of the greater issue that the system is broken. But before we open that can of worms, I have to talk to you guys. I hear you, okay? Loud and clear. You might not hear me loud and clear, but I hear you, okay? I understand. My audio sucks. All right, I hear you all the time. Danielle, it's cracking and popping. My ears are bleeding. I can't even finish this video. I love your content so much, but it's so bad. I can't even focus on what you're saying. I hear you, okay? Now, I gotta be honest. I myself have ran an experiment. I have listened to my videos on my TVs, on my iPad, on my phone, through my headphones. Now, is the quality top notch? No, I'm not Warner Brothers over here. But guys, I don't know what you're talking about with it being like insufferable to listen to. But there's been enough of you that have said that it is insufferable to listen to that I believe you, okay? I believe you. I don't know why my phone is apparently not doing its job. Well, probably because my iPhone's not meant to do this kind of work. But I'll let you guys know, I have listened, I have taken the criticism, I have considered it, and there is enough of you that are saying, hey, this is an actual problem, that guys, okay, I'm gonna buy a microphone. All right, now you gotta be patient with me here because I just moved and I don't have any money at the moment. So please wait till I get paid, and then with my extra, if I have any extra leftovers after bills and things like that, I will buy this microphone. Apparently, it's going to be a really good microphone. My husband found it for me. If I can find a screenshot of apparently what it is, I'll put it up here and you guys can let me know if that's a good one or not before I go and purchase it. Okay, but hopefully the quality will increase and your guys' ears can stop bleeding. Fingers crossed, right? So hey, if you're listening to this video and you're like, wow, this audio really sucks, go ahead and subscribe. You don't want to miss out when I get my microphone, right? Now that we've got that out of the way, and hopefully I have eased your worried hearts, let's dive into the subreddit X-Foster. Was anyone else forced to be on birth control in foster care? I was in foster care and will admit I was a very promiscuous child due to unresolved childhood trauma. So they put me on birth control. Understandable as well. Now I'm seeing that the birth control I was on, Depo, has lawsuits against it because of brain tumors. While I can't afford to go get scanned to see if I have these brain tumors, it got me thinking if anyone else had to go through this as well. I know forced medication is a fairly common thing in family type situations. And yeah, I will raise my hand on that one. Yes, I was forced to be put on birth control before I was even sexually active when I was in foster care. Okay, so let me rewind a little bit. Let's back it up a little bit. When I was put in foster care, my very first night and like my first couple weeks, maybe even couple months of foster care, I was placed with an emergency foster family. So I was only there temporarily until they could find me like a more long-term care placement, which came in the form of my uncle, who I had seen like once in my entire life when I was a toddler. Okay, and my uncle was more so like the uncle that you hear about in the stories from my grandma. Didn't really know him very well. He was really cool though. I mean, like we got along really good. He was more like my older brother. We would play Left 4 Dead like into the wee hours of the night on the Xbox. Like really cool guy, chill guy, right? But it was in his home and under his care that I was forced to be placed on birth control, having never been sexually active before in my life. So how did this even come to be, right? Like how did the topic of birth control even get brought up if I wasn't even sexually active? Well, similar to the original poster, I myself was a promiscuous child. Now, like I said, I had never been sexually active, but I would send inappropriate things to my friends, okay? Like for instance, the piece of evidence that got me caught and confined to birth control was a picture I had sent my friend, we'll call him Ethan. All right, I had sent my friend Ethan a picture of my face with spit. I made a spit bubble and I said something along the lines of, this looks like, you can fill in the blank. And guess what? That just proves how not active I was, because it doesn't look like that. But somehow, some way, my uncle's nosy ass girlfriend found that picture on my phone and told my uncle and made my uncle report me to my caseworker. And then bam, no phone for me, which we'll talk about phones later on. No phone for me, had a flip phone, okay? Put on birth control because of a picture I sent that wasn't even explicit. It was just inappropriate. I remember going and getting put on that birth control. They did not talk to me about the risks. I didn't know anything. It was just like, here's birth control. This is going to make it to where you can't have a baby if, you do end up being active. Nobody even told me that it doesn't fully even prevent pregnancy. Nobody told me that it can only prevent pregnancy as long as you're taking them the proper way. None of that. And even worse and even further than that, none of my caseworkers, my guardian ad litem, nobody on my team, not my uncle, my uncle's girlfriend, nobody thought, this kid really shouldn't be acting like that. Like, that's really not normal behavior for a kid. We should get to the bottom of why she thinks it's okay to act like that. Like, maybe we should put her in therapy. Maybe we should get her to talk to somebody about why she thinks this is normal. Why she thinks that it's normal to just send friends content like this. No, let's just put her on birth control and demonize her. Whore! Not to play the comparison game, but something that really jarred me when I was scrolling through the comments of this original poster's post and seeing a lot of people say, well, no, maybe I wasn't put on birth control against my will, but I was forced to have a medical exam done to see if I was being sexually active, to see if I was a virgin. And again, I'm not playing the comparison game saying one's worse than the other and blah, 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 but that is incredibly, incredibly insane to me. And when I was reading that, I mean, like I obviously I was trying to put myself in their shoes and think about what that would be like. And all I could think about over and over and over again is the fact that it wasn't just one person who said this happened to them. It was multiple. And all I could think of over and over again is that when you're a foster kid, like a lot of the time you are put in foster care because you had no autonomy, because we had no say in what touched us, how it touched us, what went into us, what came out of us, anything that had to do with our body, our person, we never had a say or control over. And so it's already bad enough to force us to go on these medications without even telling us the benefits and risks and why we're on them and giving us proper sexual education. But to take a child who has already been traumatized and force them to go through such an intimate examination that doesn't even prove anything anyway is so incredibly sickening to me. And if you are somebody who has had to go through that, my heart genuinely goes out to you, and I am so incredibly sorry that an environment that was supposed to protect you once again stripped you. For what reason? Why? Because we're not talking about rape kits here. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about an examination to see if a child is being active, to see if a child is a virgin. Scientifically speaking, that's not even a thing that you can view and see. You cannot examine and determine if somebody is a virgin or not. That is so incredibly outdated. That is such an outdated belief that has been proven wrong time and time and time again. And I cannot believe that there are caseworkers and just teams that are supposed to be protecting children in general that allow this to happen to children who have already been victimized. The real reason why foster parents hate foster kids having cell phones and internet access. Control. That's it. These people love to control every aspect of our lives. They love to treat us like convicts. They even try to control parents by complaining about how mom doesn't help on homework or when dad brings soda and chips to visits. They are abusers low-key. Look at how they treat us. We can't do anything. A foster kid having a cell phone means that they have some control over their lives and can report things that's going on inside that household. A foster teen recorded her foster mom abusing another foster kid in the home. Nobody believed that this wonderful foster parent would abuse a foster kid, but here we are with video evidence. The comments in the group were gross, saying foster kids shouldn't have cell phones to record abuse. Most foster parents will bring up BS reasons like safety reasons. It's all a lie. If they cared about safety, they wouldn't be in foster parent groups online or on social media sharing everything about their foster kids or the child's family. Yet, here they are posting details that make the child identifiable, and we have foster parents posting things all over TikTok, Facebook, Instagram about their foster kids. Examples: foster parent just got a brand new baby born addicted to drugs. He's so cute. We're giving him a nickname because we don't like the name his mom picked out. Mom doesn't know who the father is, and she slept with 5 men at once. Praying we can adopt and keep him. Post a picture on Facebook group, Facebook page, and TikTok. Foster parent: I hate this kid. My foster daughter, 16, refuses to come out of her room. She has an attitude and refuses to do well in school. We took her phone because we don't allow phones in our home. She refuses to eat what we make and is ungrateful for the shoes I bought for her. Post picture of ungrateful foster daughter. Foster parent: OMG, look at this. My foster daughter 5 was so scared of men because she was molested and raped by mom's boyfriend. In just 3 short months, she let my husband hug her and be near her. Jesus is healing her and God is allowing her to move on from the past. Post picture of foster daughter online. Hashtag foster parent, hashtag win, hashtag foster to adopt, hashtag pray, hashtag Jesus. And a teen, preteen having a phone is normal. Everyone has a cell phone and you can't live without one anymore. The goal of a foster parent is to not take it away, but to let them learn and teach them about the internet. Yet these people are too lazy to do that and want control to the point that they break us. If anything, foster parents need to be taught about social media and phone safety because these people blog and post about foster kids online to a bunch of strangers. Foster kids are vulnerable and outing them puts them at risk. It is so easy to find people. I found every kid and foster parent just by the details and photos they've posted. If I was an evil person, it's not that hard to just show up at their home or the child's school. But these people love control so much to the point that they are abusing us with it. I have screenshots of foster parents and the details they shared. You think things online are private? They're not. Maybe they need to reflect and take their own advice about the internet and cell phones. It's crazy that they take the cell phones and don't allow foster kids to use the internet, but they can go online and post about us, invading our privacy and safety. Two-faced and hypocrites. Oh, I said we were talking about phones, didn't I? We are talking about phones because as a former foster kid, me and my relationship with having a cell phone in foster care was a very rocky one, and I would like to argue and say not for a very good reason. So when I was put in foster care, I did still have my phone and it was still turned on until inevitably my mother turned my phone off, so then I was phoneless. I still had my physical phone though. I think she eventually ended up taking it back, so like I had to give it to my caseworker to take it back to her, something like that. I actually can't remember exactly like what happened with that phone, but I do remember there was a period of my foster care life where I didn't have a phone, and not because it had been taken away from me, but because my mother had withdrew my right to connection with my friends from my school that I was moving from and everything because she was mad at me, right? So the next time that I actually got a phone was when I moved in with my uncle, and my uncle got me a phone basically like as soon as I moved in with him, because he thought it was important that I had a phone, that I could talk to my friends from my old school and, you know, do all of the normal teenager things. But as previously mentioned, yes, my stupid Snapchat was found out and I did have to give up that phone, and I was stuck with a flip phone for a very long time. Again, I want to say I had that flip phone until I moved in with my next foster family. And the reason I had to leave my uncle's house, it's a super, super long story. So I'm going to try to give you the very crunched down, condensed version. Okay. Move in with my uncle. Me and my uncle are besties. Okay. Left for dead. Anything on the Xbox. Like, I literally felt like I was like living with like a bachelor, like a college kid. Okay. I was home alone a lot because he had to work. But I was a teenager. Like, he was just fun. We would have like pizza all the time, like Little Caesars pizza all the time. He didn't really cook, so the food was a problem, but that's not why I wanted to leave his house. I was like willing to overlook all of like the gross boy stuff, like him pooping in the toilet and then just leaving it there, or taking a massive poop and then telling me to come look at it. One time it was like the size of a loaf of bread. All of this I was willing to overlook because I was genuinely happy living with my uncle. I felt like I was actually like being like a normal kid. Like, I was going to school, I was coming home, I was playing video games, I was doing my homework, and then his girlfriend fished her way into the picture. Now, if I can remember right, he and his girlfriend were already like dating before he like got custody of me. So I can imagine, you know, trying to put myself in her shoes. I was probably really not ideal, would you say? Like, building a relationship with a new man, and all of a sudden your new man is caring for this 14-year-old girl. She didn't like me, okay? She did not like me. She would come to our house and slam a Bible down on top of the TV talking about how I needed Jesus and how Jesus would fix all of my problems. She would come to me and ask me questions about like why I was in foster care. She would ask me questions about my mom, and she ended up actually becoming friends with my mom, and then talking poorly about me to my mom, and then talking poorly about my mom to me. And then at the same time, I was really close with my grandma, okay? Like, me and my grandma were like best friends, my biological dad's mom. But my grandma had some drug problems, okay? Like, yes, she does. And she lost like basically all of her teeth because of these issues. And so she had one front tooth left. And my uncle's girlfriend would like do this thing. I'm not going to do it, but she would do this thing like when I would be talking to my grandma. If she was like behind my grandma, she would like do this thing that was like supposed to be like making fun of my grandma for her one tooth. And it just put me in a really uncomfortable spot, because then it's like, if I say something to my uncle, like, this is his girlfriend. If I say something to his girlfriend, like, it just put me in a really, really, really bad spot, and I couldn't stand being there anymore. So when she found this content on my phone, all hell had broken loose, okay? And that was like the end for me there. They didn't trust me at all. They were like really like hard on me, okay? Like, not very nice. I already couldn't do much because we lived in the middle of nowhere and stuff, but I mean, like, they were like just kind of mean to me, kind of treating me like, I don't know, like I was like one of the most disgusting things that they could have ever like stumbled across in their life. I say they because my uncle didn't defend me. He didn't stand up for me. He didn't try to help me at all. He just stayed quiet and in the background while his girlfriend was slowly melting me down to nothing. Yes, I complained to my caseworker about all of these things. I complained to my caseworker about the lack of food. I tried to use anything in my power to give my caseworker a reason to let me leave here, because I was literally going insane. I could not, with the back and forth, with the fact that this woman was talking to me and trying to get information out of me, and then talking to my mom, and then telling me what my mom said. It just genuinely, it was ripping me to pieces inside, and no one was listening to me. Nobody wanted to believe me. I didn't know what else to do, so I did the only thing I knew to do. And that is get in severe trouble. So I had a friend, okay? A friend that I had been friends with since the 5th grade. All right, my troublemaking friend who I was best friends with, and my parents loved. I mean, I was over at her house from Friday till Monday, almost every single weekend. I basically lived there. I called her mom, and she was at my house a lot. But then all of a sudden, when I was put in foster care, all of a sudden my mom cared about my safety, guys. All of a sudden, it was wrong for me to go hang out with the girl a couple years older than me who introduced me to smoking pot and all of this other bad stuff. All of a sudden, now she cares about my safety. So as soon as I was put in foster care, I wasn't allowed to see this friend anymore. Okay, and now as an adult, I understand that that was just her way of controlling me and further punishing me for telling the police what she and her husband had plans to do and what he had done to me. But I knew my uncle. Chill guy, like I said, chill guy. So I come to him one day and I say something like, dude, like, I'm really missing my friend. Like, that's been my best friend since 5th grade. Like, let me go over to her house. Nobody has to know. And him being a big idiot is like, oh yeah, I'll let you do that. Drops me off at her house. And we smoked some pot. A lot of pot. And I remember thinking to myself, this isn't enough. It's not going to be enough for me to be like, oh, by the way, caseworker, I smoked weed in my uncle's care. I had to get photo evidence. So that's exactly what I did. And I knew that I couldn't be the one to go to my caseworker, right? Because nobody believes me. Nobody will listen to me. So what we do is we take pictures of us doing this act and post it to my Instagram, okay? My Instagram account through my friend's phone. Bingo. Got it done because guess what? The very next day, there was an alert for an emergency team meeting where me, my uncle, my uncle's girlfriend all had to go down to the office with my caseworker, my guardian ad litem, my DJO, my mom, my step. I mean, everyone was there. And you know what they pulled out of that evidence folder? My Instagram pictures. Bingo! I won because I got out of there. They determined that my uncle was not like a good enough, like a smart enough, like mature enough person to be able to handle me and my just terrible, crazy, awful behavior. And so they removed me from his care. Now he and his girlfriend had to get tested. I had to get tested, of course, which to this day, it boggles me that, at least this is what I was told, is that my results came back negative. I don't know how that happened because I had a follicle test done, but they came back negative somehow. I don't know how that happened, but I guess I could have got away with lying. I don't know. But I got out of there. Okay. So then I'm with my next foster home. Well, actually, no, I got put back with my emergency placement first for a little bit. This is turning into a really long story just about my story of foster care. But like, long story short, okay, I leave his house. Okay. I don't have a phone anymore. I go to my next placement. I don't have a phone in that placement either. And then I go to the next placement after the emergency placement again. Okay. So now just catch you up to speed. Okay. I'm with the Christian family. If you guys have been following me for any sort of time, now we are with the religious family, the Christian family, and they too get me a phone. And now I remember my very first day in their house. I was upstairs because the foster kids stayed in the attic, and I was upstairs in the attic, and I had to clean up the mess that the last foster kid left. This last foster kid was an artist, and she was a very talented artist, but she had like drawn flowers and stuff like on the walls and like on like the heater part, like underneath the window. I don't know. It was an older house. And I had to take a magic eraser, and the foster mom's like, here's the first thing you're doing in this house is cleaning your room that I didn't clean for you. And I had to get on my hands and knees and scrub the walls and the baseboard and try to get all of that off as much as I could. And then my caseworker and my foster mom were talking, and I remember my foster mom asked something along the lines of like, so like, what are the rules with her and like cell phones? And my caseworker was like, she can have a cell phone, but you're gonna need to keep a really close eye on it because she's not been the smartest on it. And I remember I was like internally screaming because I was like, oh my gosh, like you guys don't even know how bad I could be. I literally have been on my best freaking behavior since you guys lost your mind on a spit bubble. But they did end up getting me a phone. And now with that phone, I had very, very, very strict rules. So I had to have my phone downstairs on the counter every single night by 9 p.m. If I remember right, I was like on a probationary period where I couldn't have it like upstairs in my room at all. And then eventually like I was able to earn trust because guys, I know it's coming from me, but I didn't want to be a bad kid. Believe it or not, I actually just wanted to fit into a family somewhere and be a normal kid. I didn't want to be out causing chaos and mischief and going out and doing all these terrible things. What I needed was someone who was safe and genuinely loved me, to be patient with me and take the time to explain to me why what I was doing was harming myself as well as potentially other people. Bam, right? Okay, so like I've earned trust, and now really the only rule that I had on my phone at that point was like I had to have it downstairs by 10 p.m. and then I could just get it in the morning. It really wasn't a big deal. That was until they got guardianship of me. It's so weird. And that's an entire story in and of itself, is like the adoption guardianship thing, okay? But it was like as soon as they got guardianship of me, and what I'm about to say I know is going to resonate with a lot of you if you guys are former foster youth or you've experienced guardianship or even adoption, okay? I know that I'm not alone here. I'm not speaking for everybody, obviously, but I know that I'm not alone when I say this. It was like as soon as that hearing was over and they officially had legal guardianship of me, and I sat down in the back of that car, like excited. Okay, I was excited. I was like, oh my God, I have a mom and dad. And I feel like kind of like a normal kid a little bit. I mean, yeah, they're a little bit crazy and like have crazy strict rules and stuff, but that's just because they're Christians. All right, it's fine. Everything's fine. I can live with that. I get down in the back of that car and it was like heavy. I mean, it literally felt like a switch like flipped in this relationship. And I felt like genuinely like I fucked up. Like I felt like, oh, I fucked up here. And it was from that day forward that everything changed. Just like OP is talking about in this post where it's like foster parents like to use phones as a form of control. It was like as soon as they had total legal control over me, they sought all control over me. And I'm mainly here talking about my foster dad in this situation. So it went back to like I had to have my phone down there by like 9 again. And then it ended up turning into he locked me out of like a lot of my apps. One of which being my Flow app, like FLO, like the menstrual cycle tracker, like the period tracking app. He locked me out of it. And when I asked him why, because I could never confront the man face to face, so I felt bold behind my screen, and I would be sitting up there in my room and I texted him like, why did you lock me? Like, why can I not? I think I said something along the lines of like, why can I not access X, Y, and Z app? And he explained to me that the reason he locked me out of my period tracking app was because there was no reason I needed to know when I was fertile. Okay. Okay. But then more and more and more apps I was locked out of until eventually when it turned 9 p.m., my entire phone would shut off and it would like turn on this like weird screen. Like it was like he had like an app or something like downloaded that would like do this. I don't know how he did this, to be honest, but it was like, it would turn to like this weird screen where, oh, my nose is running, where the only things I could do is call 911, call or text both of my foster parents, or just text my youth pastor and or his wife. Those were the only things I was able to do on my phone. It was like insanely locked down. And at this point in time, I literally, guys, I'm not even like tooting my own horn or anything. I was their like best kid. Okay. Like when it comes to like in general, best kid. Okay. Cause their biological daughter was like out in college and stuff. Like they had foster kids in there. I was the best one. I was like everything that they wanted because I had trained myself because I wanted to fit in and be accepted so bad to do that. Okay, I was going to church with them 3 days a week. I wasn't just going to church. I had stopped wearing pants. I had taken out all of my piercings. I had started to grow my hair out. I mean, I changed for these people because I wanted to be accepted. I changed for them. And yet out of all of the foster kids, it was still only me who had these crazy strict rules. And it was really troubling for me. And then out of the blue, my foster sister comes to me, who was living with me at the time, and she's like, hey, I found this thing on my phone and it's so weird. Of course, I'm like, ooh, like, what is it? What could it be? And she shows me, it was like a screen on like her Safari or like whatever Android's like version of Safari is, whatever, where somebody like had been on her phone, which isn't unsurprising because we had to leave our phones downstairs, but somebody had been on her phone and like hadn't closed out of something through like the web browser. And I don't remember like what company it was or anything like that, but I remember like going, like clicking on it because like it was there and like kind of reading through it. And it was like some sort of program or like software to be able to like basically like use someone's phone without you being the one to use it. So essentially it gave like the other person like access to the other phone's like camera and microphone. And you could even like see what somebody was doing like on their screen, like while they were doing it. And there was only one like explanation, and that was our foster dad. And I had already been having issues with him because like I had fallen out of a ceiling. Long story, very long story. I was being stupid playing hide and seek, and I didn't know that you couldn't crawl into drop ceilings. I thought it would hold me. It did not. Okay, I fell out of a ceiling, I landed on concrete, and I had a pretty bad concussion. So I had to stay home from school, and this man wasn't supposed to get home till like way later in the day. Okay, I had a concussion. I sleep upstairs in the attic. So sorry about that. I take a shower, all right, and I'm like, my head's pounding. I have a concussion. I fell out of a ceiling on the concrete, okay? Forgive me for being like, I don't think right now I really want to march up all of those stairs, put on my clothes, and then march all the way back down these stairs just to sit my happy butt on the couch and watch a show for a couple minutes until I feel ready to go upstairs and take a nap. So that's what I do. I take my dirty clothes with me, I set them down next to me, and I am sitting on the couch in my towel with a blanket on top of me pulled up because no one else is here. I'm supposed to be alone. I am watching Glee. That is very important to note that I am watching Glee because in the middle of me watching Glee, I look over at the door and I see his bald ass head in the window. He's home. Very early, might I add. And he comes in through the door. I'm nude on the couch in a towel with a blanket on top of me. And my heart is racing. And Glee is on the TV. Now, the reason that matters is that they hated Glee. They're Christians. Glee was not allowed in this house, dude. I was already breaking a rule by watching Glee. I already basically had a spotlight on me. And so he's looking at the TV and he's looking at me and he's like, what's this? And I'm like, it's Glee. And he goes, And then he like starts to walk away, but then he comes back. So like I was thinking for a second, like, whew, all right, he's gonna go down to the basement where their room is, and I'm gonna have time to jet upstairs and get dressed and act like none of this even happened. So he turns back around though, and he starts like tugging on the blanket. And as he's tugging on the blanket, I'm like holding it like up here like this because that's how I had it on me, and I'm nude, and he can see that my clothes are next to me on the couch. Like if you put like if 1 + 1 is 2 and 2 + 2 is 4, like it's very obvious to put these puzzle pieces together and figure out what's happening here, foster dad, okay? And he did. Because as he is sitting here pulling the blanket off, like forcefully, and I'm sitting here struggling to keep it on, he stops and he goes, what, are you naked or something? And I just go dead quiet, staring at the TV, and he drops the blanket and leaves. And I was not the only foster daughter of his who reports having creepy encounters with this man. It was all about control with him. He loved control. He loved being able to control when I could and could not talk to people. He loved being able to control what apps I could and couldn't look at. It had nothing to do with my safety. Because at the end of the day, me knowing if I'm fertile or not is not harming anybody, and it doesn't matter. So I do agree with OP when they talk about how for a lot of foster parents, as much as they want to say, oh, this is about their safety, it's about their safety, it's less about safety and more about showing that child who has the power here. I'm the one in charge. Because I can take that from you whenever I want, and there's nothing you can do about it. I think that that is sick and twisted. Because that kid doesn't know you, but they do know the people on their phone for the most part, right? They do know that at the end of the day, even if today was terrible, they can go and they can go to their community online, or they can go watch their favorite YouTuber, or they can text their best friend that they've known since kindergarten, but they haven't seen in over a year because they've been put in foster care, bouncing from school to school to school. And you want to take all of that away from them? Because of safety reasons, or because you want to show them who's boss, or because you don't want them to be able to more easily document when you have wronged them or another foster child. That's all it is. If fostering was treated like a job, it would cut down on abuse and weed out bad people. So apparently foster parents and even professionals believe if we start treating fostering like a job and pay people a salary, we can weed bad foster homes out and cut down on abuse. Do these people not understand? That's not the real problem here. The real problem is approving people in 3 months and trusting them with someone else's kid behind closed doors. The system refuses to address the real issues, and people think paying salaries is the answer. What do you think? If I may be completely honest, how in the world is paying people more going to stop child abuse? Can someone explain that to me like I'm 5 years old, please? If a predator wants to harm a child and has access to a child, they're going to harm the child. It doesn't matter how much money you pay them. If you have a foster parent who is a predator and you're paying them $30 a month, guess what? they're still going to be harming that child, even if you were paying them $3,000 a month. The only difference is now they just get to keep doing the same thing and get paid more. I don't see how this is going to fix the root issue at all, because like OP said, the root issue starts in the training of foster parents. It starts in the screening of foster parents. And now I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys that I have a solution to fix all of the abusive homes and how do we stop it all together. I don't have a solution for that, because I don't think that's realistic to be able to say, hey, I have an idea that will make it 100% foolproof where no child abuser will ever slip through the cracks and become a foster parent, because people lie, and people can lie really good, and really bad people can have really good track records. But what I will say is that they're not doing enough. When it comes to training, they're not doing enough. When it comes to vetting, they're not doing enough. It is too easy to be a foster parent. And way too many times, I see people who went into being a foster parent optimistic with good intention and end up not staying a foster parent, or not even getting a chance to be a foster parent, or turning out to be really bad foster parents who hate the kids and blame kids and hate foster kids as a whole, because they were not prepared as to what they were getting themselves into. People need to realize that foster kids, believe it or not, surprise, have behavioral issues. And it drives me crazy that these bad families will look at a foster child who has behavioral issues as if the behavioral issues are the reason they're a foster kid. No, you are not the victim here, ma'am. You literally volunteered and signed up to be a safe place for children with behavioral issues. That is foster care. Now, some might have more severe behavioral issues than others. Some may seem like they're completely fine, a completely normal kid who's been completely unfazed by whatever the reason is that they're in foster care. But at the end of the day, you as a foster parent need to be prepared for the worst of the worst behaviors without being prepared for a bad kid. Be prepared for bad behavior, sure, but don't come into this being like bad kid. Oh, I see now why you keep getting bounced from home to home. No, actually, maybe go get more training. Go get more training, educate yourself more. Maybe don't be a foster parent. And again, I know I'm harping on foster parents right in this very second. It falls back on the people who are allowing them to be foster parents, because I get it. We need more foster parents. There is a high demand for foster parents. And so I can understand in some ways they don't want to scare off potential foster parents, but at the end of the day, you're harming kids by not being honest with the people you are potentially hiring to be foster parents. You are causing harm to these children. And if foster parents are not prepared to be foster parents, it does not matter how much money you pay them. They're still gonna be bad foster parents. To foster parents, stop expecting a child to be happy just because they've been placed in your care. Being fostered doesn't erase the pain of what they've lost. It doesn't mean that they should suddenly be grateful or smiling. They've just been ripped away from everything they know, sometimes overnight. Familiar people, routines, smells, sounds, even their bed, gone. Would you be smiling? Your job is to give them a safe, stable place. That's it. Stop centering your own feelings like they don't like us or they don't seem happy. Of course, they're not happy. They are grieving, confused, angry, scared, and they have every right to be. You can't rush trust. You can't force healing. Sometimes it takes months, sometimes years, and sometimes they may never fully open up. But if you give them space, patience, and gentleness without pressure, you increase the chances they will. Stop trying to fix them. Just be there. I'm so sick of reading posts like that. Just get a clue or don't foster. I have literal chills. I love that. I don't think that I could have said that any more perfectly at all. I think that something that a lot of people don't understand about foster kids and former foster youth in general is a lot of us will talk about how we missed home when we were in foster care. And then I know from my experience in particular, people will be like, well, then it must have not been that bad at home then. You're really telling me you would have rather gone back to your stepdad who strangled you twice than to live in X, Y, and Z house? Sometimes. Yeah, sometimes I really did just really want to be back in my bed, snuggling my dog Sky to sleep while the whatever show is playing on my TV in my very poorly decorated and organized room. It was mine. It was my room, my things, my dog, my bed, and it smelled like me. I knew where everything was. I knew where every crack in the floor was, where every pulled up piece of carpet was. I knew every part of that room. It was mine. I had memories etched into those walls and in the floorboards and in the ceiling. It held the songs that I sung. Of course I wanted to go back. Of course I wanted to feel that safety of my sanctuary again. Because when I was in there, the whole world didn't exist. It was my safe place. Of course I wanted to go back. Because the unknowingness of foster care was sometimes too heavy. I'll never forget my first night in foster care at that emergency placement home. All I had was the clothes on my back and my backpack. I had an extra change of pants in my backpack, and that's all I had for a couple weeks because my mom wouldn't give me any of my clothes. My mom wouldn't give me any of my belongings. I had nothing. I didn't have a shower at my foster home. I know now that I did. She just never showed me how to turn the shower on. So I literally was just taking baths using one bar of soap, a pear bar of soap for everything, and wearing the same clothes over and over and over again because I had a shirt, shorts, and a change of pants. When I walked into that house, it was dark. It was nighttime, and the living room was dark. And I couldn't really see inside the house very well. I couldn't really tell where I was or where was what. Where's the bathroom? Is that a hallway to where? I don't know. I didn't know anything. An unfamiliar house. And going through the living room and past that hallway, we come into the kitchen where there's a table in the middle of the floor. And this is completely different than the kind of places that I've lived in. This is a completely new environment, and I'm sitting across the table from a complete stranger, a woman that I've never seen a day in my entire life, while I'm sitting next to another stranger who just brought me to this strange lady's house while I have nothing. And she tells me all of the house rules, and I couldn't remember them because I was tired and scared and confused. And I'll never forget when she showed me my room where I'd be sleeping. Mind you, I'm coming from my own bedroom with my life-size cardboard cutout of Justin Bieber and my bedding that I picked out and my hand-me-down Tempur-Pedic bed that I got from my parents when they upgraded their mattress. And I've left my dogs who sleep with me every single night. And I'm just now realizing it's just hitting me. I don't want to cry. I just had like the thought of like, I wonder if my dogs, oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry. I don't want to cry. Ha 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 ha. Just laugh. It's all funny. I just don't want to cry right now. Do you think my dogs missed me? Do you guys think that my dogs noticed that I wasn't coming back? I'm literally gonna cry. Don't cry. I'm brimming with tears right now. Stop it. Oh, anyway, moving on. I get into what my bedroom is. First of all, it's in the basement. All right, there's an alarm on the basement. So she explains to me, I can't come up there. It's locked and there's an alarm. So if I try to come out outside of the hours that I'm allowed to, she will know and there will be consequences. So guess what? I never ever found out what those consequences were. Never. Nope, I stayed in that basement. And guys, we're not talking about a finished basement, okay? We're talking about a singular, very old couch and a singular TV and like the living area. And then down the hall, 2 bedrooms, very low quality, poor quality, okay? We're talking 4 bunk beds in the rooms and very overcrowded. I was the only person there. I didn't have any of my stuff, any of my own. I literally felt like I was walking into a jail cell. I'm not even kidding. I genuinely felt like I was walking into a jail cell. My bedroom didn't even have a light. It had a lamp, like a little table lamp with no cover on it. So it was just a light bulb. That was my light, and that was my first night there. And the alarm clock that I had been given was set to 6 p.m., not 6 a.m. So I didn't have a very good wake-up call by my foster mom being drugged out of my bed by my arm either. She was very upset with me, but luckily I had nothing on my person, so it took me no time to get ready for school at all. Even in the nicest foster home I ever lived in, which wasn't even technically a foster home. It was my friend's house that I moved in with after I had ran away from my last foster home when I was 17. Very nice people, pretty wealthy people. As far as like basic needs and all of that, I had it easy. They bought me a car. I had it easy. And yet I still had problems in that home that I feel like I can't talk to them about, or I will be labeled as just trying to nitpick and find problems. But it's like too many people with genuine good hearts don't realize that foster kids, it's not about necessarily making sure that we have all of the things, right? Like I had a car in my own room and I had all of this stuff, and yet I was still so deeply unhappy because I still didn't feel like part of the family. I still felt like the foster kid. Unfortunately, too many foster parents absolutely do center themselves within the conversation and topic of foster kids and even their own foster kids, because they view what they're doing as such a great sacrifice. I've given up part of my home for you. I give up some of my money for you. I deserve that doting on. I deserve the praise. Memories of a trash bag kid. Me and my trash bag at a stranger's door. My entire life packed into a black trash bag. My caseworker unfazed. I am just another case file about to be someone else's problem. Already so broken, confused, and unwanted. I am alone. Trash bag kids, rise up. A little fun fact is when we moved here, did you guys catch in my video that I said like, oh, like we're still like unpacking a bunch of boxes? I'm 26. This was my first time using boxes to move because all I've used is trash bags. Even when I left college and moved to Virginia, I put all of my stuff in trash bags because I'm just so accustomed to it. And I don't know, like as a former foster kid, in my mind, I'm like, if it's clothes, like honestly, what's the point of putting it in a box? I mean, both things are gonna be thrown away. I feel like I'd much rather just smush all of my clothes into this bag that can be further smushed. But I've moved on, okay guys, I've matured, I've healed past my trash bag kid phase. But why don't, offices have at least one suitcase for kids? Do like offices like caseworker offices like DCFS or whatever CPS offices actually like accept like suitcase donations for foster kids? Is that a thing? I'm feeling like as I'm saying that, I feel like I remember at least years ago that was a thing. And if it's not a thing, can we make that a thing? Because it is so humiliating as a child, and I know for me personally as a teenage girl, to put all of my makeup, to put all of my everything that was mine in trash bags and just continuously move and then have to dump out this trash bag of my stuff in these new people's houses. Like that was really, really embarrassing. And why are we not giving them at least a suitcase, right? Can we do that? Is that something that we can do? If you are a caseworker or you work at a CPS office or something like that, let me know down below if that's something that you guys do. And if not, why aren't you guys doing that? Because it seems like such a small thing, right? It's a trash bag. You're putting your stuff in a trash bag and it's going to be in the trash bag for like what? Like an hour, maybe a little less, maybe a little more while you move, and then you dump it out and then your stuff's fine. It's not like your stuff was actually in the trash, but it feels like it though, doesn't it? I didn't get to pack up my things when I was put in foster care. Like I said, I didn't get any of my stuff for like a couple weeks because my mom would not let me have any of it. And when I did, it was like 3 trash bags full of stuff, and I'll never forget how excited I was. It felt like Christmas. It literally, oh my God, I was so excited. My caseworker had like made a separate special stop just to drop off all of my stuff in my foster house, and she brought it all downstairs to the basement and then like sat with me while I like dumped it all out to make sure like I had all my stuff. But I remember being like, oh my God, it's my Tanky, my childhood teddy bear. I still have him. My kids sleep with him now. But I was so excited. Oh my gosh. But then to have to put all of my beloved items once again back into trash and then do it over again, it just kind of grinds on you. It makes you feel so much less than your peers who, at the same time that I'm going through all of this and I'm moving school to school and I'm moving a lot, I'm traveling. I'm seeing over the summer breaks that my friends are traveling and they're posting their super cute luggage and suitcase and they're normal. It's just a constant reminder about how not normal our situation is. And I feel like giving these kids a duffel bag, a suitcase, even if it was a donated suitcase and then you put a sticker with their name on it, something would make them feel a little bit more normal. But that is all we are going to read today from Ex Foster. I hope that you guys liked today's video. It was a nice little break for me. I didn't have to do a whole bunch of thinking and deep diving, and felt good to just chill out and just shoot the breeze with you guys. You know what I'm saying? Also, did you guys like my dogs in the background? They decided to make an appearance today. Where are my cats? I don't know. It's really cute when all four of them end up cuddling up together. Usually the cats will be in between the dogs and it's just like a line of animals. And it's so cute. So hopefully one day they will do that for you guys and you guys can see that. But anyway, that's all I've got for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give me a like and don't forget to subscribe. I would love to know your guys' thoughts down below in the comments. What were your experiences with foster care? Did you relate to anything that I said and anything that we looked at? I'm really interested to hear other people's experiences, and I hope that you guys will go check out that subreddit if you are a former foster youth or you're a foster child in general. Lots of great discussions happening over there, lots of great resources. If I had that subreddit when I was a foster kid, I feel like I would have done so much better in foster care, and with my case, I feel like I would have had such a much better understanding about what the heck was happening around me. Definitely suggest checking it out. It's not often that I can give you guys good suggestions, so I'm glad I can give you guys a good suggestion there. I just really appreciate you guys hanging out with me, and I will see you guys on the next one.